I won 2 rounds for sure, and then he won 2, and then I got dropped. But yeah, I was doing good. I just think my cardio, just the mental pressure of the big guy and sparring the big people is different than the 10-ounce gloves. So I was feeling his power a lot more.
Fresh out of jaw surgery after AJ cracked him, Jake tried to explain why the fight felt nothing like the build-up talk. He basically blamed it on AJ's sheer presence, and it sounded like a quiet confession that the big man pressure got into his head. After Jake's post-surgery line came out, AJ's promoter Eddie Hearn followed it up with a straight shot that aimed right at Jake's confidence. After that, Jake can't really hide behind excuses like gloves or training anymore because this makes it about fear. It turns his big guy pressure comment into a confession like he already felt overwhelmed before the real fight even fully unfolded. The message is clear. AJ's size and power aren't just a problem in the ring, it's a problem in Jake's head. And if Jake tries to act tough now, it looks forced, like he's trying to convince himself more than anyone else. That's why this hits harder than any insult, because it labels him as scared of AJ, not just hurt by AJ. By the time it ended, the whole thing felt more awkward than competitive. Chris Algieri explained why the performance looked like panic control, not a real attempt to take over the fight.
Full fight to watch. It was frustrating to watch. It was a lot of movement. But if you really think about hindsight, how else would you expect Jake Paul to have fought that fight? If he would have went out there and tried to fight, he would have got knocked out in 1 round or 2, like we were all saying. Instead, at no point did he try to win. At 0 point of that fight did he try to win. I was saying that he fought like you're like 11 years old and you're boxing your 16-year-old brother. Like you gloat, you stick your tongue out at him, you throw wild haymakers, you fall on the ground, you get knocked out. I mean, you get beat up.
You run to your mom.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, exactly.
It's essentially what happened. So
the movement doesn't look smart. It looks like he's running from the moment. He's doing a lot, but none of it feels like it's meant to win. It feels like it's meant not get caught. The wild shots come off like desperation, not a plan. And the little antics look like a cover for being uncomfortable. If you're really in there to fight, you don't spend whole stretches just trying to survive the clock. The harsh part is that it makes Jake look like he knew he couldn't handle AJ, so he chose safety over pride. And once that's the picture, it's hard to call it boxing. It's more like damage control. Then Algieri shut down the "at least he made money" excuse with a reality check. He made it clear what gets ignored in these matchups until it's too late. The damage is real.
It's to be expected, but honestly, in terms of, what people are saying, like, oh, what's there to lose? He's going to make all this money. Well, you get hurt. It's not just about getting knocked out. And yeah, getting knocked out, it sucks, but he broke his jaw in 2 places, lost a couple teeth. So in terms of how he looks coming out of this fight, he did not endear himself to boxing fans. No one was entertained by watching it. No one is going to you shouldn't give him credit for the way that he fought. And he still got knocked out. I think he would have endeared himself much better to boxing fans if he did what I said earlier, gone out there, tried to fight a little bit, tried to trade a little bit, gets knocked out in the 2nd round. Get knocked out either way.
Ngannou.
Yeah, an Ngannou type fight. Yeah, Ngannou, he's got balls. Ngannou's got balls, man. He went out there and he tried to fight, tried to win. Jake Paul didn't try to win at any point during the fight. He was just trying to survive. I think that's actually ultimately going to hurt him.
After that, the "he got paid" talk sounds weak because money doesn't protect you when you're getting broken down. Jake didn't take risks, didn't try to turn the fight, and still walked out of it with real damage on him. That's what makes it worse. He fought scared and still couldn't escape the consequences. So, the whole strategy looks pointless because he didn't win, didn't impress, and didn't even keep himself safe. If you're going to step up, you either show you belong there or you get exposed for playing a role. And this makes Jake look like he stepped in for the spotlight, then tried to hide once the danger got real. After all that talk about movement and boxing smart, the real issue gets exposed. Paulie Malignaggi breaks down why Jake's plan wasn't skill, it was survival.
The boxing skills to box on the move anyway. Once I saw the big ring, I knew he was going to run for his life. When you're that much of a novice, which obviously it's not even an insult to him, it's just lack of experience, but when you're that much of a novice, you either know how to run for your life or fight all out. You don't have that in between yet. You haven't developed enough of that in between boxing acumen to really pull that off. And so what ends up happening? You're either going to fight your ass off and you'll last a minute. Chris, you're being generous. Round 2, he would have got knocked out in round 1 if he would have fought. But at least he would have fought. He would have got the respect of the people and more importantly, the boxing community instead of these clowns that follow him and are still defending him. You know, now what happens is you didn't get any respect as a fighter. You didn't get any respect as a fighter because you didn't try to fight at all. If he would have, I was watching that through 2-3 rounds. I'm thinking to myself, this guy would do this for 8 rounds if he can. If he can do this for 8 rounds, absolutely not fight at all, absolutely not engage a single time in 8 rounds, he will actually do this. And he'll do it shamelessly. And that's the problem. That's the problem. The shamelessness of his approach.
The big ring doesn't look like a strategy. It looks like a hiding place. Jake isn't controlling distance with technique. He's just creating space so he doesn't have to trade. And when you don't have the footwork and timing to punch while moving, all that running turns into a slow countdown to getting caught. The worst part is he had chances to show some pride even for a moment and still chose not to. That's why it feels so empty, because he didn't even try to earn anything inside those rounds. It makes it look like he came in already expecting to lose and just tried to make the loss last longer. Then the conversation shifts from bad performance to disrespecting the sport. Paulie goes straight to what it means when you step in that ring and treat it like a money grab.
Then don't make an out of the whole sport, out of the whole business, and out of yourself first and foremost. Because in the end, what happens? You got his jaw broke anyway. So what ends up happening? What's the worst that's gonna happen? You're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get knocked out? You got hurt and you got knocked out anyway, but you just prolonged the inevitable and you got no respect out of it now. Because nobody's respecting that kind of performance. Nobody's respecting a performance where you were totally content to steal money from everyone by running for your life for 8 rounds. And if you could have not engaged a single time in 8 rounds, that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to pull that off.
This doesn't come off as cautious. It comes off as shameless. He tried to stretch the fight without giving the fight. Like the goal was to cash out while avoiding any real risk, but he still got hurt. So, the whole plan looks pointless and cowardly at the same time. If you're going to get damaged anyway, at least make it mean something and show you're willing to stand in there. Instead, he dragged it out and made it feel like he was wasting everyone's time on purpose. That's why the criticism hits, because it paints Jake as someone who wanted the spotlight, not the responsibility. But not everyone is criticizing Jake Paul after the AJ fight. Some people are actually giving him credit for what he's done in boxing so far. Joe Rogan explains why, for someone still relatively new, Jake has shown real skill that gets ignored because of who he is.
That guy did great for someone who's been boxing for like less than a decade. He has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
I don't even remember what happened in the Tommy
He
Fury
lost
fight.
a close decision, but it was a good fight. It was a good fight, though. He's a good boxer. If he wasn't a YouTuber, people would be way more impressed with him.
Yeah.
The problem is he was like a famous kid, and then no one took him seriously.
Yeah.
But
and then he started too with like more spectacle-ish fights. People were like, "Oh, this is you." He fought, Nate Robinson, like a basketball player.
But the thing is, he knocked Nate Robinson dead,
out,
and it's the way he did it that I was trying to tell people. I'm like, no, that was skillful. So like, there's like boxing matches where you see 2 guys just slugging it out. One guy lands a punch, and yeah, he landed a good punch. What Jake did is he slid back and landed a punch.
Yeah.
It's like the athleticism along with the intelligence, the technique. I'm like, he's not even doing it